Beautiful Game Network. I am Mike. With me is Kev and Justin. The Hounds got another big 3 points behind two more goals from Chico, and we are going to talk all about it. First off, Justin, it has been a minute, man. How's it going?
It has been a minute. Things have been good. Yeah, it was a good weekend. Like kind of getting out of the normal soccer routine in some ways because Premier League's not on, nothing else. And so it's like Saturday morning we're like, what do we watch on TV this morning? Like what
Mm-hmm.
goes on? So we didn't turn the TV on. But yeah, it was a good weekend and fun to watch the Hounds get a win and all that kind of stuff. Had some great time with some friends this weekend, so that was awesome. So good stuff.
Good, good. Kev?
What did you do with the TV off? Read
This,
like a
you,
like a
you make
nerd.
this seem like it's a foreign concept. Like, what?
What? Yeah, I know what. Well, Raina Jean had swim lessons, so we took her to swim. I took her to swim lessons. This was the first time that she was in a swim lesson without me in the water with her. It's always been like a parent and me type swim class. But this time they wore their little flotation backpacks and they got to go in the water by themselves. So that was fun to watch her play. So we were there for a little while. And then we ran to the grocery store, I think, and did that together. So we made do.
Nice.
Kev, how was your weekend?
Busy but good. Joined a new Dungeons and Dragons group, so that was fun. It's my second ever Dungeons and Dragons group. So first one I've been involved with for over 5 years. So after that, I'm just I don't know. It's a big commitment. I was doing something. We've been doing this for 5 years. I mean, who would have thought, right? Or probably even longer. But so yeah, but it was good. Busy week, but good.
Good, good. I'm
What did
trying
you
to
do,
look.
Mike?
I'm trying to look up the name of the place right now, and of course, I'm struggling. Um, I had a quintus. I have a couple stories. I had a quintessential Pittsburgh experience. So Susan, we have two rugs in the house, like roll up rugs in the house that one of them her grandmother literally pulled out of the garbage. Like somebody was putting it out of the curb, and so it just passed its way through the family. And there was another one that had sort of a similar story to that. And after having dogs, and especially dogs that were accident prone, we still have a dog, but one of our other dogs no longer have. Susan's like, I should get these cleaned. So she Googled where to get wool rugs cleaned, and it took us to this place in Aspinwall. And so she went and dropped it off. And so Saturday morning, we drove down to pick it up. And I mean, this was just it took me back in all of the best ways. It's down a back alley. You had to ring a doorbell. It just looked like somebody's house. And some old guy who's probably 5 foot nothing, comes to the door and is just like, hey, how's it going? And you walk into his garage where basically he has all of these rugs hanging up. He cleans the rugs for falling water and the melons and just does this thing. And you walk into this big room and it's the walls are plastered with family pictures. And you go back to his office and it's all wood paneling, old, not good wood panel, all beat up wood panel, stacks of envelopes on the desk, pictures of Pittsburgh from the 1920s. And
it was a chair in the parking space outside.
I mean, literally it was in all of the best ways. It was oh, he used to do a deal with a handshake and now I'm trying to figure out PayPal. And it was a whole thing, but it was fantastic. I'll try to find the name of the place before the show's over.
My question, Mike, is have you watched the carpet cleaner videos on Instagram or whatever? There's a whole community of carpet cleaners, and it's amazing when they'll take a rug that looks like trash. You can't even see the design on it. It's that bad. There's so much mud and dirt and everything else in it, and they'll just spray it down, shampoo it, do a couple more things to it. Keep going. Pressure wash it, all of that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden they've got this bright rug that works for people's houses.
Yeah, those are so cool.
I have seen those. Yeah. And Susan mentioned when she dropped the rug off, apparently this guy's 3 sisters were sitting at not even a table. It was a piece of plywood on stilts. And they're hand fixing with thread, somebody else's. The place is called Shahadi's Oriental Rugs, but friggin' amazing. What? How do I what?
How do you spell it? I don't know how to spell it. I don't know how to Google Shahadis.
SHEHADY''S.
There we go.
And not to be mistaken, apparently there was like some whole thing where there was a guy that worked for him, and then he left and went to Squirrel Hill, I think it was, and named his place Shahadi's, but with an E, even though that's not his family name or anything, and was like doing crap work. It became a whole thing. Anyway, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I was like, this is everything I love about Pittsburgh. It's just like old town, everybody's your friend. Like, let's just get the work done and hard work. Yeah. That was one story. One other thing that I got today that I figured I'd share. So something that I think the Hounds should do. Aston Villa apparently does this every single year, but the Aston Villa Foundation, it's not really a competition. It's like a 10K. And what you do is you donate essentially 30 pounds to the Aston Villa Foundation. And then you compete in this. It's not even compete. It's just do a 10K. That's really it. You can walk it, you can run it, you can bike it. And the first 100 people to do it gets a medal. And so every year it's a different medal. And this is like legit. I mean, you can't really, it's like heavy duty medal, but like the Hounds should absolutely do something like that. Have like a little Bob Lilly medal that like people could win. You go do a 10K, you donate some money, it goes to some foundation.
How does this work in modern day things when you're across the pond? Do you have to like just submit a Fitbit thing?
No. So, well, they wanted proof that you did it. And so thankfully, I'm like super deep into this competition with Laura Ellen, and
so they sent an ambassador over,
Steve,
and they run with you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I literally just took screenshots of my Peloton ride that morning where I had eclipsed 10K, and like a picture of me on the bike with my Villa shorts on, and they're like, okay, cool, yeah, like you're one of the first 100. We'll send you a medal. I was like, sweet. So yeah,
that's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I want the Hounds to do that because I want like a collection, and they do it every year. Like I guess one year was like a Jack Grealish medal, and like so they change it every year. So we need to Hounds, Matt, you need to get that going because that's really cool, and I have those
because I like it, and therefore because everyone else likes.
I think it's great. That's why.
Yeah, but if the Hounds did it because they're in Pittsburgh, it'd be like a plastic medal that like, hold up under like anything.
It'd be a Eaton Park Smiley cookie with like a hole punch in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, guys, no Josh, so I'm gonna try. Oh my gosh, that was awful.
This is why Josh.
You know why this was bad?
No.
So that was supposed to be the victory, but you know why it's bad? Kev, where is this from? Where is this cider from? Can you read it backwards? Keewaydin Cider Mill, but if you look at the fine print, it's your favorite place. It's Otto's Pub and Brewery.
I don't know where. Okay, it's fine. Otto's is fine. I appreciate when my family like does Otto's beer. So Otto's beer, for the people who don't know, is a brewery in State College, Pennsylvania, Penn State, right? Like it's one of the first.
Exit 69. Yeah.
One of the first breweries in State College. Well, it's not true. I remember it was like in this modern wave of like breweries everywhere. I remember Otto's being there when I was in college. And
it used to be a Quaker steak, didn't it?
Maybe that sounds kind of familiar.
It looks like a Quaker steak, but yeah.
So you said it's my favorite. It's fine.
Every time we get we rarely go to State College, but every time we do, my dad's like, "You got to stop at Otto's. It's Kevin's favorite." He walk there at one point.
I appreciate it. I like the thought. The thought's great. I like how people think of me this way. This is nice, but it's fine. It's fine.
This is good.
Well, we have a victory beverage because the Hounds did get a victory this weekend, 3-1 over Loudoun. 2 goals from Dikwa, 1 from Kizza. Justin, you've been sort of watching the team and not able to share your thoughts for quite some time. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I didn't watch a ton of the second half of this game, but I watched the first half, and I made the comment to Laura Ellen at one point, like, I thought that was the best I'd seen the Hounds look as far as like putting a team to the sword of like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be like, we are the better team. We're just gonna act like we're the better team and be the better team, and they were. And so I really like that, and I really like the way that they performed on Saturday night. I thought it was great. Obviously things didn't go as well in the second half, but in the first half, I thought they looked really good, and definitely put Loudon to the sword, which a team like Loudon you need to.
You had made a comment too in chat. I think you said something like, "This game is boring in all the best ways," and I was like, "That's a
Yes.
really good way to put it."
Yeah, it just wasn't an exciting game to watch. It was like, this is like, I don't necessarily enjoy watching this game, but it's good. Like it's good that we're doing what we need to do against an inferior opponent.
Yeah, especially in that first half, it was just like taking care of business, chalk it up, like we're
Yep.
good. Kev, what'd you think?
It was everything I wanted out of a Loudon game. I think I said it before on the lead up to it, or at least at some point this year. I was like, Loudon, they have a 30-yard screamer in the top corner in them. And of course, that's how they get their goal in this. I feel like once every 3 games that we play them, they score a goal like that. And so, the fact that it doesn't have to hurt us in that we end up winning 3-1 pretty comfortably, I would say. They didn't threaten us. I mean, okay, so we get, Kizza's goal might be the easiest goal he'll ever score. I mean, he has to be there to finish it, but that was really bad by the Loudon keeper. And then Dikwa second, once again. I mean, probably one of the easier goals Dikwa will ever score. But that's not to say that, we had 3 clear chances and scored 3 clear goals. We pout on the pressure, like Justin was saying. Could have scored more. Dikwa had a pretty clear chance off of a corner early on. We looked really good. We looked really solid. This didn't look like a game we were trying to like manage our way through. Like Justin was saying, just echoing what you already said, we came out aggressive. We knew that we could be a bit brave here, and we not that we're exposing ourselves defensively, but we can put numbers forward because we're just that much better of a team than they are. So, yeah, it was everything I've come to expect out of a Loudon game. And, absolutely no, play this clip next week when things unravel, but absolutely no worries about where we're at a very important part of the season. I think we're playing as good as we have been all season right now.
I was slightly concerned. Like, I think on the show that we did last Monday, I think I said 1-0 win. But then once I realized that, which I should have known, that Jamali Waite wasn't going to be in goal, I thought that, that probably Loudon was going to get one. I wasn't sure how that was going to play out, because this is the first time in a long time that, a keeper that started the season on the roster with us that's not named Jamali Waite got minutes. And I thought, he did okay. The defense sort of did their job.
I can't really think of anything. I mean, he's not going to stop their goal.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I don't know. There's just not much more I thought he needed to do particularly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought particularly Kenny and Rovi both had really good nights. I think that Kenny is one of those ones where, every so often we talk about him and you start to think like, is this going to be it for him? Like, is he going to the coaching staff next year? Like, how does it go? And then he puts on a performance like that, where at times felt like he was our best player on the field. Literally dropping nutmegs on guys just because. And so, maybe Kenny's just ageless. Like, I don't know. How many more seasons would you expect Kenny to play with the Hounds, Justin?
I don't know. 2, maybe. I feel like it's not like I want to say that, well, maybe this is the last season. And if we win the USL championship, maybe it is his last season. But it's a weird. Yeah, he does seem to be ageless in a lot of ways.
I mean, I don't want to put a number on that kind of stuff. I mean, he'll know his body. He'll know what feels good for him. I do think, I'm trying to think. I could be wrong here, but in big away games this season, I want to say away Louisville, Lily has a tendency to do like a midfield of Griffin, Ibarra, and Mertz and just put energy in there. I think as time goes on, that trend will probably just increase rather than decrease. And I think it'll just become more and more difficult for Kenny to find games. But I mean, counterbalancing that, the thing I've always said about Kenny is he can do things on the field that no other player on the field can, and that's what his value is. And so yeah, he could have shortcomings elsewhere, especially as his career goes on, but particularly I think his decision making and his vision is second to none. The pass for what he assisted Dikwa's first, I think. Great pass, perfectly weighted, and great touch by Dikwa too. I mean, if Dikwa was gifted his second goal, he earned it through his first, because it's a good run. He kind of falls off the defender, creates space for Kenny to kind of find that channel. It's a hard first touch and he just puts it perfectly out in front of him. It's a hard finish too. I mean, on the 18, guy on the left side of you, goalkeeper well positioned, he just puts it in the bottom corner. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's always, in the right moments, I think there's always going to be a place for Kenny until he, really falls off a cliff. So I hate to put a thing on at the end of it, but yeah, he's got some more time in him.
You mentioned Chico there. Kev, on the last show, I asked, is Chico going to get to 20 goals?
I still stand by it.
You said no. That's fair. That's fair. You said no. We threw up a poll on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called after his first goal. He got 2 in this one. We said Chico has 15 goals in the season with 5 games remaining. Will he get to 20? 65% of people said yes. 35% said no. Granted, this is mid-game. Everybody's hyped up. He just got a goal, and then he got a second goal. So he's now 4 goals away from 20, and he has 5 games left to play. No idea where that puts him in the Golden Boot race, because I still can't see the stats. Called out the USL on Twitter earlier for it'd be great if we could see these. I literally had it uploading all day long on my personal computer. Never loaded. So I have no idea who else is in the race with him, where he stands.
Maybe your internet just sucks, Mike.
No, that's not it. That's not it. So I don't know, Justin, where do you stand? Do you think Chico gets to 20 goals this season? Four goals in 5 games.
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, are we counting playoffs, or are we just counting regular season? I think he
regular
can.
season.
I think he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can, but do you think he will?
It's hard because he goes on streaks, right? And so if he stays hot and stays on the streak that he seems to be on right now, yeah, he's going to get there, because he probably will get, a couple. There'll probably be a couple multi-goal games, but it's hard to know if he's going to stay on that streak or not.
Yeah, I think he gets there. I think with 5 games left, 4 goals, like you said, Justin. If he gets just 2 games that are multi-goal games,
just
there you go.
2, that's fine.
No big deal. Listen, Kev, we had the conversation. It was like, where are the goals going to come from at this point? If I tell you the Hounds win 2-0 in Miami, where do you think the goals come from?
Dikwa scores 1 at least.
Exactly. So that's kind of where we're at. Earlier this season, we were kind of like, well, the midfield, Mertz is putting, you just really don't know where goals are coming from. I don't think that's the case anymore.
What? So you're saying the goals are coming from Dikwa?
They're coming from the forward line. That's it.
Yeah.
When was the last time a midfielder scored for us?
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, look, I know Dikwa was out injured for a bit. So I don't know how many games played he actually has. But he's already broken his record from last season, which I want to say was 12 he scored last season. We've played 29 games, and he scored 16.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not bad. So, okay, back of the it's not bad.
Not
it's great.
bad.
It's great. I mean, it's just really, really good. But what I'm guessing here, he probably missed 6 games mid-season. That sounds about right. Let's say he did, and that'd bring him down to 16 goals in 23 games, which is really good.
Yeah.
I would still say it's not the ratio 4 and 5, but it's so. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's a lot lower. He's a lot more likely this weekend than.
Should we put something on it?
No.
Come on, let's make this interesting.
Don't encourage bad behavior on podcasts.
Okay. All right, Kev. I won't.
I
yeah. So yeah, Dikwa, another 2 goals. You already mentioned that Kiza got his goal. It was a bit of a flub by the keeper, which is a bit
Etu
of a
looked
shame.
really good in this game too, guys.
Yeah. No, listen, I think there were a number of guys that look good. I made a comment on Twitter where, and it'll be interesting once we get to the season, at the end of the season, to talk about this, but is there a player that is more improved over the course of the season than Ibarra? Like, I remember coming into the season thinking he was a liability. And there were moments in this game where I was like, thank God we have Ibarra. Like, the way he sort of took charge and was pressing, and like, he has grown into the player that we needed him to be in a way that, the beginning of the season, it felt like he was sort of a replacement for Griffin. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. And so I don't know if like Griffin coming back was actually a godsend for him, because then he could become the player, like he could become himself. He wasn't trying to become Danny Griffin.
I think Griffin makes the players around him better. And so like, yeah, that I think that helps a lot. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I'm one of obviously the biggest Griffin fans out there. I felt like he kind of went missing in this game, where he eventually comes off, and it was just like, hey, was he on? Like, where was he? What happened? So, yeah,
I thought he was okay. I thought he had a fine game. I think with Ibarra, I think Steve. I could be putting words in Steve's mouth. But I remember a while ago, Steve made a pretty good point around Dos Santos, really based off of his kind of role switch of like a 3 center back system. And then I think classically we would have all thought of him as like a left wing back or something, or more attacking or something. And his reinvention, I think, has been really big this year. But no, I think, Ibarra has been great. He provides a lot of energy. And look, I don't know, to me, I still think, I will be Etu's biggest fan. And Ibarra is keeping Etu out of the middle of the field. Now, I think there's something to be said.
I was gonna say, I love how we're not talking about Etu at all, and you're just like, no,
well, I got to bring
drop
Etu. He's very good. No, I think part of it is Etu being one of the very few. I'm trying to think of others. One of the very few left footers that the Hounds have. Putting him at left wing back makes sense. And with all the energy that he has, and the tactical awareness, knowing that, we see it with Rivera creating chances, especially in the first half, how much they can kind of integrate themselves and kind of midfield build up and all of that. So I get it. But no, I think Ibarra has been huge for us this season.
And at least in the first half, Mike, I feel like Griffin went missing a little bit, but they were centering a lot of their play down the wings, and like that's not going to suit Griffin's game all that well, and so he's not going to get the touches that he normally gets. And so, and you kind of mentioned that Roby had a really good night, and he did. And so I think that that's the tough thing about that situation for Griffin is it's always going to be a little bit hard to find yourself in a game that the play is flowing down the wings more than not.
I mean, it's one of those things too that we've talked about, where if he's playing sort of that holding mid position, then the way that you can tell that someone's doing a good job is you just don't notice them. They're just doing the job. And that very much could have been the case here too. So,
going back a couple minutes in the conversation, Albert Dikwa is now leading the Golden Boot race.
How did you find did it load for you? Where did you find this?
No, FBref is the website that I use all the time for stats and stuff. So I don't try to get on the USL website because FBref is so much faster. So Dikwa, it's pretty interesting actually, even looking at the top 10 of the Golden Boot race. So Dikwa sitting at the top with 16. Russell Cicerone is in 5th place with 13. Nico Brett is in 8th place with 11, and Alex Dixon is in 9th place with 11. So the former Hound strikers are all competing.
That's awesome. So what, Dikwa has a 3-goal lead in the race right now over Cicerone?
No, Danny Trejo for Phoenix Rising has 15.
Okay, so
Manuel Artiega for Phoenix Rising also has 14. So he's got a 1 and 2 goal lead off of 2nd, 3rd place.
Okay. Well, let's get him there.
And if you look at those players and how many games they have left on their team, we're splitting hairs at this point. So Dikwa has as good of a chance as any. And I don't know, maybe the way I'm kind of squaring the circle is that maybe I think the Golden Boot winner won't hit 20 goals this season, which I think is probably likely. But yeah,
I think that's fair. You can absolutely win it and not hit 20. But I think that would be a great achievement for him personally.
I wonder what the odds are for him. Yeah, I mean, he's probably
You
favorite.
want to put something on it?
The huge betting market that there is. For
That's
US.
right.
Yeah.
Guys, two other things about this game. First of all, again, Highmark setting records. So this was the largest regular season crowd at Highmark history. It
Yeah.
just keeps going against a
For
team
Loudon.
like Loudon. Yeah, like, seriously. So yeah,
No, I keep saying no matter how this season ends, I'm really struggling to think of a better season the Hounds have had, at least since we've been doing this podcast. I think with where we're at in the East, with how well the players are playing, with the memories of the Open Cup, and with the attendance records, I mean, I can't add. There's nothing else on my wish list that like I would want to cross off for this season. It's been amazing. I mean, other than like winning it all, but
I was going to say, I was watching the game with my wife, and I said, if the Hounds get the Player Shield, the playoffs and championship roll through Pittsburgh. Like, can you imagine like all of the playoff games and the championship being played at Highmark Stadium? Like, that would be nuts.
Indy's the only team that took us out at Highmark this season, right? So,
yeah,
good odds.
When's the championship game though? That's gonna be a
it's
cold night
like
on the river.
December. Yeah. But if that happens, Justin, would you guys road trip it in?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Kev, you would too, right?
No. I can tell you now.
The easy answer is absolutely. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say.
Mike, I am.
You are the worst. You know what?
Man.
You won't come to the game. You know who was at the game? Phil Neville was at the game on Saturday.
I don't get the hubbub. Phil sucked. Like I don't like he was not good.
I'm sorry. How many Premier League championships did you win, Kev?
The same amount as Phil. No, I'm kidding. Oh, did he really?
Yes, he won 6 with
6.
Manchester United.
Was he integral at Manchester United though?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters as much as this medal matters, Kev. Like he was there, he got it. That's it.
Gary Neville was much better of a player than he was, and that's not saying much. Like, so I don't know.
Yeah. I totally missed it. I guess Phil Neville was the head coach of Miami? Like yes. Miami and MLS, not like the Miami that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But yes, his son is playing for Loudon, so that's why he was there. But still, like, I don't know the last time we had a Premier League winner just hanging out at Highmark watching a game.
You have to know my bias too. I mean, like Phil Neville was huge for Everton and United, 2 of my most hated teams. So, like, of course I'm gonna hate him.
Yeah. Guys, anything else on this game you want to talk about?
Not on this game, but good win. Not on this game, but random thing that I saw last night. I was watching the Cowboys game last night, and the Cowboys kicker this year is Brandon Aubrey, who played soccer in college at Notre Dame, got drafted by Toronto, ended up spending a couple seasons with Bethlehem Steel, was on the bench for the playoff game, the penalty shootout playoff game.
Oh, really?
And then decided that soccer wasn't working out, or he couldn't find the whatever. So he went and learned how to kick a football. And so he kicked for the USFL team in Birmingham last year. Didn't miss a kick all year long. And this year he is the Dallas Cowboys kicker.
That's a wild story. What a good story.
That feels like every, I don't know, junior in high school who played soccer for us in Penn Hills. Like there was always one kid that was like, yeah, I'm going to play soccer and I'm going to go be the kicker on the football team. Cause like, that's what's going to get me all the.
Why'd you say junior?
For some reason, they always start the junior year. I don't know why. Like the few guys that I know, we were like, really? And then they would like stick around and play their senior year too. But it was almost like the football team came looking to the soccer team. Like, hey, we need somebody that's been around a little. Like, we don't want a freshman. We don't want a sophomore. Let's get somebody that's like decent. And,
they only have to show up at the games on Friday night, so like it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a really cool story. And what he played, was it with Brendan Aronson at the same time?
Yeah. So he would have been there at the same time Brendan was was there, and so just a wild. I was like watching the game last night, and he comes out to do his first extra point, which was like 5 minutes into the game, and they're like, Brandon Aubrey, this is his first NFL kick, period. He, played soccer in college, got drafted by Toronto and MLS. Didn't stick, but went to USL, but didn't stick there either, and then became a football kicker.
Yeah. Did he make it? Did he make his first kick?
He missed his first kick, but he made it all the way.
Terrible. Give it a terrible name to the soccer players. Oh, well.
Yeah, it is funny. One ended up at Leeds and one ended up in Dallas. So, yeah, very cool. Good story. Well, guys, after that win, taking a quick look at the pick'em results, just because we have to. I'm still leading with 27 points. Michael Finn is right behind me with 25. We had Devin. I think Devin picked it spot on. So Devin jumps into the picture. Laura Ellen is at 24. Keaton is at 24 along with her. Kev, you're at 22. And Devin is at 22. So this is very much going to be a race to the end here. And we're just going to keep going as long as the Hounds are playing. So I think we'll get into the playoffs. We'll keep doing it through the playoffs. Once the Hounds lose, then we'll sort of tally up and end it there. But whoever ends up having the most points at the end of the season, that's what we've been saying all year, will get 2 free season tickets to the Hounds in 2024. Right now, Michael Finn is in pole position, but Keaton Liebengood is only 1 point back, with Devin just one, correct pick away. So if you pick the right score, you get 3 points. You pick the right result, you get 1 point. Otherwise, you get 0. But if nothing else, this has been fun this season. So I'm really interested to sort of see how this all shakes out and where we go from here. Guys, after the win, the Hounds are still sitting at the top of the table. We have 54 points. Tampa Bay is nipping at our heels with 53. They still have a game in hand, but guess what? We play them in a few weeks. So really, the Hounds hold their destiny in their hands. If the Hounds are able to beat Tampa and basically win out, then we win the East. And, who knows about the Players' Shield? There's a couple of other things that could impact that, which we'll talk about here in a second. But Charleston this weekend also locked up a playoff spot. We are the only 3 teams, Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Charleston, to have locked up a playoff spot so far. Nobody in the West has done it yet. And I don't think that anybody has been eliminated yet. Typically, they put a different little symbol next to it. So even though Hartford only has 16 points, I guess mathematically they could still do it. It's not going to happen for them, or really, I guess it could happen for Loudoun. They're only 10 points back, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. But right now, your top 4 in the East are the Hounds, the Rowdies, the Battery, and Louisville. But there is a pretty big gap between us, the Rowdies, the Battery, and then Louisville. Battery at 52 points. Louisville has 43.
Yeah, so, in a 34-game season, technically Hartford is not out of it yet. If they win the rest of their games, I think they could sit on 37 points or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Talking a little bit about the Players' Shield and sort of the race to the Players' Shield, I've had this little graphic that I've put up here for the past few weeks. Just sort of painting a picture of the teams that are in the hunt. And this is sort of purely my opinion. Mathematically, anything can happen. But the Hounds currently still have the most points with 54 points. We have played one more game than a couple of these teams. Sort of looking at, the outlook in terms of who else we have left to play. We have 2 playoff teams that we have left to play, and then 3 non-playoff teams. The caveat with all of this, playoff versus non-playoff, is that some of these non-playoff teams are bubble teams that are actually going to be really difficult to play as we get down to the end of the season. And a prime example of that is Tampa. So Tampa has 4 playoff teams that they have to play, 2 non-playoff teams. Their 4 playoff teams, they have to play us. They have to play Louisville, who they barely beat this past weekend. They have to play Memphis, who they lost to last weekend, and then San Antonio, who are second in the West. So even though Tampa has a game in hand, none of those games are going to be easy. But another example of that is I think Charleston has 1 game against a playoff team, 4 against non-playoff teams, but they are all bubble teams. So they are all going to be scrapping for every little point that they can get. So there is no gimme at this point. But if you were looking purely based off of just playoff versus non-playoff, Sac Republic has the clearest path. They only have to play 1 playoff team, and they have 5 non-playoff teams to face. But again, like I said, it's all kind of moot. But yeah, right now the Hounds sitting at the top. If I had to guess, I would say San Antonio is going to drop out of this list after a few weeks, just because some of their competition is going to be really too hot. But if the Rowdies can pick up some losses, that'll give us a little bit of breathing room at the top of the East. But really, I'd love to see us go for the Player Shield. We did put out a poll last week as well, asking, which would you prefer, the Player Shield or the Cup? And overwhelmingly, people said the Cup, which I guess I was a little bit surprised by. I shouldn't have been. Justin, where do you stand on that? If you get a shot at the Player Shield, are you disappointed if we don't get the Cup?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the situation the Union found themselves in a couple years ago, and like won easily. Kind of, we're right there in the playoff Shield race. They ended up, or the Supporter Shield race, and they ended up not getting it. But it's hard to. I think the Cup is the prime thing, and it's like, okay, we are the best team in the league, proven via playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So, I think I would rather win the Cup. I could care less about the Players Shield.
Ooh, care less. That's harsh. I mean, like I don't know. I was trying to make the argument last week that over the stretch of the entire season to be the best team, I can see through a certain lens how that's more reflective that you were the best team over the course of the season. The playoffs are kind of like it's a tournament. It's like hit or miss. If it was like, if each round of the playoffs was best of two, then I'd be like, okay, like, the playoffs are a good indicator of who the best team was. You could just get a team that's really hot, like Orange County, and they could just tear through the playoffs, and they weren't even the best team in the West this year. So it's just like, sure, you got hot at the right time. But I mean, I guess that's kind of American sports. So you live and die by the playoffs.
Well, and the reality for me is like I don't that's not to say that I don't want the playoffs to run through Pittsburgh. So
Right.
to do that, you've got to at least finish first in the East to get that far along. And then hopefully you win the Players Shield so that you now have home field throughout. But yeah, I mean, you want the home field advantage. You want people to have to come play on a freezing night on the Mon. So yeah.
Yeah. Guys, just looking briefly at the Hounds' remaining schedule, just so that we can see what we're talking about here. We do have Miami this weekend, which we'll talk about briefly. We then, we go to Miami this weekend. And then the following weekend, we are home for really the next 2 weeks. We play New Mexico and Tulsa. And then we have that massive game against the Rowdies at Al Lang the following week. And then October 14th, we wrap it up with Detroit on the road. 5 games left. I think we did the over-under last week. I can't remember what the number was. I'm going to put the over-under at 11.5 points. Justin, are you taking the over or the under?
11.5. I would like to say the over, but I don't think we get the over.
Ooh.
But that's okay. I don't think that necessarily means we don't win the Player Shield. So, there's key games on here, right? You got to beat Tampa, but like, I don't know that some of the other games matter if you beat Tampa.
Have you taken the over or the under on 11.5?
Nah, under. I think it's way too much. I mean, you don't beat 11.5 unless you get 4 wins. And I just,
Yeah.
4 wins and a loss would be amazing, I think. Or 4 wins and a draw, obviously.
Well, that gets you over.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's amazing, and I think that I would take it immediately. I don't think we're going to get it. Yeah, and I don't know. Quickly going back to a point that you mentioned before when you were looking at the competition for the Player Shield. I don't know. I actually think Tampa now probably becomes our biggest rival with everything. Sacramento has what they've dropped. They've lost twice in the last 3 games. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, their run-in looks fine. But the fact that we have the 3 points on them, and they have 1 game in hand, but they haven't been playing great as of late. And then just, Tampa, they have an away game against Hartford. They have, a home game against Loudoun. That game against us is just huge. So we'll see. I think before I still probably would have put the odds on Sacramento to take it, but now I think I'm loosening that conviction, and now I think it's I don't know. Look, they're still in with
you
a
think
good
it's going to
chance.
come out of the East? Do you think?
Yeah, maybe. Sacramento still has a very good chance, but I just think maybe it's swung a little bit in either the Hounds or Tampa's possession. I think before our biggest competition was with Sacramento. Now I actually think it's probably with Tampa.
I mean, looking at our schedule, I tend to feel like we probably have the best run-in of any team, but any of those teams that we talked about, so Sacramento, San Antonio, Tampa, and the Battery.
I just think that away the away game against Tampa is just rough. If we don't get beat, then I think we have a chance. Because Tampa's schedule does look rough.
Yeah.
But it's that away game against Tampa's huge. We just can't lose that.
Yeah. It's one game at a time, and it all starts this weekend against Miami. The Miami, not the Miami, the Miami.
What's the difference?
They call themselves the Miami, but really, like, there is Miami in MLS that has Lionel Messi. That's not this team. This team has lost 4 of their last 5, and they're 4-5-5 at home. So that's who we face on Saturday. They currently sit outside the playoff picture with 29 points. On the season, they faced 40 more shots than we have. So their defense just sort of leaks shots, which bodes well for Dikwa, but we shall see. And surprisingly, last time we played them was all the way back in March, and it was a 1-1 draw at Highmark. So one of the few times that we were dropping points at Highmark. Any thoughts on this game, guys? Justin, what are you expecting from this game?
Based on what I saw this past Saturday, I'm expecting the Hounds to take care of business. I mean, I think, like, yes, you have a team that's on the playoff bubble, and they have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs. But I think the Hounds are a good team, and I think that's what I've just noticed over the past couple of weeks. And I think at the beginning of the season, we were like, oh, I don't know if this Hounds team is going to be, whatever. But I think as the course of the season has gone on, like, they definitely have gelled and are playing really well at the moment. So I think that there's a pretty easy chance that they win this game.
Kev, how you feeling? You nervous at all about this one?
Yeah, because it's an away game, and it's an away game that's a multi-state travel away game until the season ends, and until we start seeing results that are different from that. I'm always going to have that in the back of my mind. I don't know. I think it's more likely that we win than any other outcome. I'd say it's almost like, Kevin's probability numbers is probably like, 60% chance of us winning, 20% for a draw, 20% for a loss. So, it's a little better than a coin flip than I think we'll win, but not by much. And I think, a draw could really take out some momentum in this game. So I think that's the other bit about this, where we're at a point with the number of points that we have and with Tampa where they are behind us. If we want to finish top of the East, and really still, that's my main concern. Yes, Player Shield would be great, and I want that, but I want to be top of the East because that's within your control.
You kind of need one. Like, you need one if you want the other.
Sure. Yeah. And if we, I don't know, with where Tampa's at, if we get a draw away at Miami, I think that's going to feel a lot worse than the numbers might suggest it should be or would be. And so I think that's my only hesitation around this game, because the draw, things happen in soccer games. Loudoun puts in a 30-yard screamer, a goalkeeper makes a mistake, a red card gets thrown up. So an injury happens. So a lot of stuff can happen. And that's the reason why I'm worried about this.
I was going to say, like, even if this game was at home, do you think you'd be as concerned as you are with them being away?
No.
Is that as much a factor as, like, you're making it out to be?
I really do. And I don't know, it's a weird, I think see, I'm gonna spread information that's very
Classified?
cloudy in my in my head. I remember a conversation around a study that showed like the home away advantage for whatever reason really only ever like existed in soccer. And like in almost every other sport, the home away advantage thing was not as pronounced as it was in soccer.
Hmm.
And I just, I don't know. It's especially this season. I mean, we're such a fortress at home. I mean, so yeah, I'd bring on anyone at home and I'll feel confident that we'll win. Yeah.
Well, I guess let's get into predictions. Justin, give me a score prediction.
2-1 Hounds.
Okay.
I don't have any reason for that. Just 2-1 Hounds.
I
part of me wants to go back to 2-0 because, like, Jamali Wade will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just spent the week with Andre Blake, so that's always a good thing for him. So, I think it could be a chance that he drops the shutout too.
It'll be interesting to look back. Well, I don't know if you can like statistically do anything with this, but this is the second time this season that he was on international duty with Blake. So, like, how did he do coming back after last time? And is there any correlation? Probably not. But yeah, I take your point. Okay. Kev?
1-1.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm taking the 20%. I don't like that.
Yeah. I'll go 1-0. I think what's interesting is like in the USL Power Rankings, which they put out every single week. Like I think the Hounds are in 4th, which it's totally like made up. It's like it's all made up. The points don't matter. They're in 4th. I think they have Orange County in 1st, and they have both Tampa and the Battery ahead of us, and like jumping ahead of us. And I'm like, we just won 3-1 against. I mean, yeah, it's Loudon, but their justification for keeping the Hounds at 4th this week was that Coach Lilly was not happy about the whole way the game played out after this one, and that echoes the ambitions of this team. I'm like, Lilly's never happy. Like, what are you like? Really, this is news to you? So
I'm just looking at Charleston's last 5 games, and in those 5 games, they have a loss against Orange County away from home 2-0. But outside of that, it's a 1-0 win, 1-0 win, 1-0 win, and a 2-0 win. That's insane.
I'm going to take the 1-0 win for the Hounds against Miami. I think that if we get into the playoffs and it's a bunch of 1-0 wins, I'll be fine with that. I mean, we talked about Lily Ball, and it's not necessarily crazy fun times, but if it's taking care of business in the way that the first half of this Loudon game was taking care of business, great. Just control the game, get the win, shut it down, go home. You got 3 points. It's all good. So, yeah.
So to answer your question, Mike, when Wake came back from Gold Cup duty, that was the 2-0 win over Detroit City where they didn't allow a shot.
So we can't tell a lot about his performance. I mean, maybe he was like commanding the back line really well, but yeah, no shots. So
it's kind of amazing to me. I think I've said it before, but in a season where, in my mind, the Hounds aren't great defensively, we're still the best in the East for goals against, which is crazy to think about. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
That's fine. That is what we think. Obviously, let us know what you think. I think Friday we'll put out the tweet and the post on YouTube where you can go and add your score prediction, and we'll get you counted and all of that. I am going to do some statistical analysis. I might ask both Laura, Ellen, and Kev for some help on that in the off season to sort of break down like how good are we actually at even getting close to the result? Like how difficult is this? Because we now have a mess of data of people making predictions all year long, and on the whole, like how good were we? It's tough, man. I think part of the reason why I jumped to the top was that it was just a series of 1-0 wins. And I was like, I don't know, 1-0. And like Lily just kept producing 1-0. So no reason for me to deviate from that this week. Guys, anything else going on that we should talk about here?
No, I don't know. Brighton's looking good, Justin. They're like everyone's second favorite team in the world, I feel like.
In the world.
Yeah. I got my Albion Plus membership packet today, which this year was a like microfiber beach towel. It's actually really nice. It has like
nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
I get the impression that a lot of people maybe outside of England were like, wait, Fatty is going where? Like, why?
Yes.
What? Like, even some Barcelona fans
Mhm.
were like, seriously? And I'm like,
Who?
oh no, that's dangerous.
It's
Who?
Ansu Fati.
Oh yeah, okay.
He took the number 10 jersey from Lionel Messi when he left Barcelona.
Yeah. And then they found him to be not, I wouldn't say expendable. Like, it was just like, he's not getting the minutes he wanted to get. And
It's a straight loan though, so like they definitely don't find him expendable. Like they want him back after the year, but they need him to go somewhere else. And I was telling Loyal, and I feel like Barcelona, the lights are just so bright in Barcelona that you get somewhere else where you're like, oh yeah, I'm on the south coast of England, playing at Brighton and Hove Albion. Like you got a little more grace there than you do at Barcelona.
Yeah. I think he's going to do really well at Brighton. It's making me nervous. I was all up on Villa going into the season, and then a series of injuries, like game after game after game, and I'm just like, ah, crap. So I think they'll still be okay. I think their saving grace at this point is the Europa Conference League, and if they can win that, then it's like you're into the Europa League the following season, and they absolutely should be able to do that. And so that would be a good season regardless of where they finish in the table. Kind of like a West Ham situation last year, but I don't think they're going to plummet as much as West Ham. Kev, are you guys, I mean, Saul is staying, but like, are you concerned about the long-term picture there? He's going to go at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's likely he'll probably go even next summer. I mean, look, he wasn't, I don't know. He wasn't going to stay here forever. Eventually Klopp needed to completely rehaul the team that won the Champions League. We're pretty far along from doing that. Mane's gone, Firmino's gone, Henderson's gone, Fabinho's gone, Wijnaldum's gone. Mainly it's just the backline and the keeper. So, it has to happen eventually. I think Salah's a brilliant player for us. His numbers are still insane. Even when he has a bad season, people are like, oh yeah, like wow, he just. So yeah, I think he's huge. And we'll see. We'll see how the season plays out. I'm really happy with the midfield so far. Got to be honest. When Liverpool signed McAllister, this was earlier in the window. I was definitely in that camp of like, yeah, he seems good, but like Caicedo definitely seems to be the one. McAllister has been amazing. I mean, he's been one of the players of the season for us so far. It's been 4 games, but yeah, I mean his awareness, his brain of just how he kind of finds space in the field and how he just lays it off, his touch and McAllister's been incredible. So I'm sure you already knew that, Justin, but he's definitely surprising us.
Yeah, and he's one of those players that I have a problem with the way Caicedo left, right? Like, obviously, that was not a great situation. Obviously, he's not doing, whatever. McAllister definitely seemed like, yeah, it's a bigger opportunity at Liverpool. Like, your quality of play is, like, able to compete and be there, like, whatever. And he did it the right way. And he seemed sad to leave Brighton. All that kind of stuff. And so I don't like when players are just like, yeah, I played here for 3 years and now I'm moving on and this is the best ever. It's like, no, show a little respect to your fans and like the people that have supported you for the last 3 years. And McAllister did it the right way, so I'm not too upset about that. When you follow a team like Brighton, like you're gonna lose players. It's just a matter of like, can you replace them? And it seems like Brighton has done it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and Szoboszlai looks really good too. I'm really surprised, but yeah, no, generally I'm happy. I think the midfield. We'll see how Gravenberch turns out, but yeah, the midfield's looking good, and I still have hope for Darwin Nunez. I mean, that Newcastle game was crazy. Really enjoyed that. For those who didn't catch it, Liverpool go down to 10 men early on. Newcastle got a goal 1-0, and then just hang on. Nunez comes off the bench and scores 2 with like a stoppage time winner, I think. So yeah, I mean that kind of we'll see. I still like him.
We're still in that crazy period of the Premier League before everything is sort of like settled down, except for like City being City. So
Well, that's the thing that hides behind all of this is like
Yeah.
City's still perfect, and it's just like Jesus, it's amazing. I still remember when Pep came into the Premier League and everyone's like, "Can he hack it? Like you didn't win every game in the first season, isn't it more difficult for you, Pep?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's more difficult." It's more difficult. He's like, "Watch this," and he's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I think that's it, guys. Anything else you want to talk about? We're good?
Nope.
All right, Hounds. Go get some 3 points this week to prove Kevin wrong. And thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you very, very soon.
Cheers.